Well, here we are. This is going to be a little recording about modern day dinosaurs. Dinosaurs and dragons. So, this is from the ancientpatriarchs.wordpress.com. It's an amazing collection of stories and videos, which we will skip over. Photos, video reports of live dragons. So obviously in China, there are quite a number of legends of dragons, traditional Chinese Qilin dragons, whatever they were. And around the world, if you go on YouTube, you will find quite a few videos about dragons. I mean, we don't need to go into those. I think most of them are probably fake because it's just too easy these days to use, CGI, computer-generated imagery, to make people think that they're seeing something that's real, or just hoax videos like this. I mean, this video, somebody says, is the monster in Turkish Lake Van, but we just don't know. All right, this one looks pretty good. I said we were going to watch the videos. Yeah, all right, fine. We're going to watch some of the videos. The fact is, it wasn't that long ago since dinosaurs roamed the earth. And they still do. But they just tend to stay away from people because they're smart. I mean, if you get to be that old, you probably know that people are trouble. And anyway, it's fascinating. I won't deny the fact that a video of a possible dinosaur is very exciting. Whether it's in China or Turkey or wherever. But what I think is the most compelling evidence for dinosaurs is, oddly enough, ironically enough, not really just video, but actual testimonies, 1,000-year-old testimonies, 100-year-old testimonies. I believe that is extremely compelling because it just goes back to ancient times where people were really coming into contact with these so-called dragons. And of course, they didn't even have the word for dinosaur even 100 years ago. But if you know about dragons, okay, well, that's obviously that's what we're talking about. And may they be restored to their proper ancient fearful respectability. Live dragons, living dragons, archaeology, historical accounts, graphics, photos, encounters, sightings. We should make this kind of stuff viral because if we can, I believe that people will begin to know that the world is a lot different than what we know. That it's not just a silly conspiracy theory. And there really were never any conspiracy theories in history. I mean, it's like these turkeys at the farm. They're like, be reasonable, Frank. If you wanted us dead, why would he feed us so much? He's like, hey, believe what you want to believe. I'm out of here. And that's kind of how we are. We're out of here. And people might call you paranoid for leaving the system, for not believing in what everybody else believes. But this is the fact. And, in Russia, there was this creature that was washed up on the shore. Very interesting. It was found by Russian soldiers on the Sakhalin shoreline, and the Sakhalin area is situated near Japan. It's the most eastern part of Russia, almost 5,000 miles east from Moscow, because Russia is so huge. People don't know what it is. According to the bones and the teeth, it is not a fish. According to its skeleton, it is not a crocodile or alligator. It has skin with hair or fur. It has been said that it was taken by Russian special services for in-depth studies, and we are lucky that people who encountered it made these photos before it was brought away. Could be a whale. I know whales look kind of weird. But the fact is, where are his flippers? So thank God for the thoughtful Russians who photographed the sea dragon before Russian Darwinian authorities carried off this treasure trove. Do you see the mane over its skull? Yeah, very interesting. All right, well, let's go down here to our next story. And I think this story is very, very compelling. Here is a man who has encountered a dragon. Very, very interesting. Well, a lot of people have come into contact with these kinds of dragons. And natural, quote unquote, natural history museums everywhere ought to be bringing to light this knowledge, but they are not. The Smithsonian Institute. We know that the genuine sightings have been denied and shoved from the front pages of the hijacked media. And they should throw open the archives of the Smithsonian Institute. Oh yeah, they really should. So let's start looking at the different dragons in history. This one is one that was found in Gambia. A reconstruction by a missionary in Gambia who found this creature on a beach. He buried it in the sand for later recovery and research, but he lost it. And this was discredited by Darwin cryptozoologists, yet, oops, there are a lot of other testimonies of dragons, especially in England. There was a dragon at the Buries in Suffolk, recorded in a chronicle in 1405. Now, these are where we get really, really interested. 500 years ago. 500 years ago, what gain would you have from telling people that you'd seen a dragon? Let us read the story. Close to the town of Buries, near Sudbury, there has lately appeared, to the great hurt of the countryside, a dragon, vast in body, with a crested head, teeth like a saw, and a tail extending to an enormous length. Having slaughtered the shepherd of a flock, it devoured many sheep, after an unsuccessful attempt by local archers to kill the beast, due to its impenetrable hide. Impenetrable! In order to destroy him, all the country people around were summoned. But when the dragon saw that he was again to be assailed with arrows, he fled into a marsh or mere, and there hid himself among the long reeds, and was never more seen. Yes. And also in Suffolk, as recorded in the Chronicle of 1449, on Friday, the 26th of September, in the year of our Lord, 1449, about the hour of Vespers, two terrible dragons were seen fighting for about the space of 1 hour, on two hills, of which one in Suffolk is called Kindion Hile, and the other Essex Blackdon Hile. One was black in colour, and the other reddish and spotted. After a long conflict, the reddish one obtained the victory of the black, which was done. Both returned into the hills above, named whence they had come. That is to say, each to his own place, to the admiration of many beholding them. Oh, blimey. Oh, whoopsie-doopsie-doo. And so we can see this mural depicting the images of dragons. Interesting. So what is it about these dragons? What is it? And why should we be learning about the dragons? Here you have a very famous painting. This is of the dean and chapter at Canterbury. And was it true that George defeated a dragon? Is that possible? Britain, now called Wales. The early Britons, from whom the modern Welsh are descended, provide us with our earliest surviving European accounts of reptilian monsters, one of whom killed and devoured King Morvidus in about 336 BC. We are told in the original early Welsh account, which Geoffrey of Monmouth translated into Latin, and which still survives in spite of modernist claims to the contrary, that the monster gulped down the body of Morvidus as a big fish swallows a little one. Geoffrey wrote of the monster under his Latin name, Belua. Morvidius, by the way, was a merciless and cruel tyrant. He seemed to have reaped what he dished out. Ooh. Purdur, not the ancient king of that name, 306 to 296 BC, but a much later son of Earl Ulfhaug, had better luck than Morphidas, actually managing to slay his monster, an Adank, pronounced Afank, variant of Afank, of a place called Lilion, at Wales. At other Welsh locations, the Adank is further spoken of along with another reptilian species known as the Carog. The Adank survived until comparatively recent times at such places as Bed Afank, near Brinbirian, at Lynfank, above British Coon, on the river Conwy. The killing of this monster was described in the year 1693, and Lyn Barfog, a Carog, is commemorated at Carog, near Corwin. I promise I'm not drunk. It just sounds like I am. And at Dulgarug in the Vale of Conwy. Yes, indeed. It's very true. Of course, we all know this. But no, we don't. That's why we're making this video. Many dragons were recorded and pictured in Welsh cathedrals. Quite fascinating. All right. Let's look at Holland first. At the Nederlandsk Draak. Dragons recorded and pictured in Dutch castles. Oh yeah, baby. Tell me about them there dragons and them there Dutch castles. All right, let's start with Sweden, because why not? In Sverig Lindorm, a 19th century Scandinavian creature rumored to be a mythical dragon-like beast was often seen in the country around marshes, caves, and large bodies of water. There have been 40-plus eyewitness accounts of this creature. You want to see the creature? There he is. Reports have the Lindorm being 10 to 20 feet long, with a body as thick as a man's thigh, black with yellow flamed belly, a mouth full of white, shining, sharp teeth, large saucer-like eyes, and an unwieldy body. It behaves like a snake when cornered. It will rear up on its tail in a strike or pounce stance, behave in an aggressive and powerful manner, and is also very ill-tempered. It is difficult to destroy, and when finally successfully killed, it will emit a foul-smelling odor when its final death throes. Lindorms remain on land until too large to move about easily. Then it takes to water, where it again begins to grow. Although there are many witnesses, there has been no physical evidence of the existence of Lindorms, which has led some to believe in the collective hallucinations. However, due to the high number of first-hand accounts, not to mention the absurdity of collective or group hallucinations, it is more likely to have been a very live creature at one point, and perhaps still. It does not seem likely that 40-plus people could describe the same creature unless they had actually seen it. Good point. Now let's move on to Germany. Oh boy. Siegfried and the Lindworm. In legend. The German hero Siegfried conquered a Lindworm that lived near the town of Worms in Germany. Oh my gosh, it's the town of Worms. This is a painting on the wall of München Palace of Siegfried, slaying the Fafnir dragon. Before Siegfried lived Thor, an ancient Teutonic patriarch who slew a super eel, or Lindorm. Let's move on to Norway. Yay! I love Norway. Where did the Norsemen or Vikings get the idea to put dragon heads on their boats? Because they had never seen them pop out of the water and scare them half to death? Or precisely because of that, so they could scare the marine dragons with it? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. These are some of their dragon heads. Look at that, man. Wow. Do those not look organic or what? Holy crap. And let's not forget Saxon Beowulf, who slew several dragons. The story of Beowulf has, of course, been systematically, quote-unquote, debunked as the, quote-unquote, mythology by the cult of Darwin, whereas it is actual history of the Nordic and Germanic peoples. By the time of the slaying the monster Grendel in AD 515, Beowulf himself had already become something of a seasoned hunter of large reptilian monsters. He was renowned amongst the Danes at Hrothgar's court for having cleared the local sea lanes of monstrous animals whose predatory natures had been making life hazardous for the open boats of the Vikings. Fortunately, the Anglo-Saxon poem, written in pure celebration of his heroism, has preserved for us not just the physical descriptions of some of the monsters, but even the names under which certain species of these animals were known to the Saxons and the Danes. My gosh. Why do people think this is fiction? Important detail is added elsewhere in the poem concerning Grendel's appearance, especially when the monster attacked the Danes for what was to prove the last time. So in one part of the book, in lines 8:15 through 8, we are told in the most graphic detail how Beowulf inflicted a fatal injury on the monster by holding the creature in an arm lock, which he then twisted Rythen. And then it tells us, Lixa gebad atol geglich. Him on Ikshi, und Sindel Schwittel, Unsbrüggen, Bruschen Banklocken. Which, of course, is why we've never seen a Hollywood adaptation of the true version of Beowulf, of course. Okay, well, here's the modern translation. Searing pain seized the terrifying ugly one. As a gaping wound appeared on his shoulder, the sinews snapped, and the arm joint burst asunder. Man, I remember reading this in high school and being like, what are we reading? This thing is bloody. So, very interesting. We're seeing a lot of this in even ancient Babylonian art. Very curious that, he was renowned for his prodigious strength of grip. Used this to literally tear off one of Grendel's weak and small arms. So these creatures probably did exist. Okay, we'll do one more. Dragons in France. The city of Nerluc in France was renamed Tarascon in honor of the killing of a dragon there called the Tarasco. This animal was bigger than an ox and had long, sharp, pointed horns on its head. There were a number of different horned dinosaurs, like the Triceratops. Oh my gosh. So this is an old postcard about this spiked beast. Of course, it's just like a parade mock-up of the original. And here's the legend. The Tarasque hunted the banks of the river in Nerluc. It had 6 limbs and was spawned by the serpent Leviathan. But in time, it came to haunt southern France. A traveler named Jacques de Boule was journeying along the banks of that river one evening, and he was so focused on the terrifying rumors he had heard of the Tarasque that he failed to hear a deep rumble. Suddenly, the Tarasque appeared with a deafening roar. It ignited the luckless Dubois with a steady stream of fire. Oh my gosh, yes. A lot of these things used to breathe fire. Amazing. Of course, we continue to Saint Martha, whose inspirational preaching had brought joy and hope to all that had met her. She was implored to free the townspeople of Nerluc. When she had encountered the Tarasque, she held 2 branches up in the shape of a cross, and a mighty creature was subdued. She led it back to Nerluc with a woven collar, with braids of her hair, and the townspeople grew fearless, kicking and hurling rocks at the Tarasque. It cowered in fright, and Saint Martha pleaded with the people to forgive the beast, but to no avail. Yeah. And some people believe that this is what was seen. But this is what the Tarrusc dragon actually looked like to the citizens of Tarascon. And then there was also a turtle-like dragon, Darwinius christened an ankylosaur, and going just by the bones, it might have looked like this. Amazing. Or like this. All right, let us continue. I mean, it's just amazing to see this old art and to know that these people really believed in this stuff, you know? And you can look at the coat of arms of these people and see, I mean, that looks like a tank if I've ever seen one. That, all right, here's the coat of arms. Very curious. Looks like this dragon is stuffing a poor man in his mouth. So it's like, kind of watch out, you know. So, all right, here's an old illustration of a toony dragon found by a farmer. He clubbed it on the head, stuffed it, and was put in a local museum for centuries. Very interesting. Here's a crude picture of the guy. When I was a kid, I used to read this. My mom used to read this to me. From those homeschooling conventions. Wow. All right. Well, I guess we can play one more video. Why not? Why not? I mean, I said we weren't gonna, but it looks like we're gonna. Unless we can't. But it's just amazing and fascinating to me to know that throughout history, dinosaurs have existed. It's not just something new. It's just that modern history is so controlling and so undynamic. I mean, even if aliens and dragons and ghosts and zombies were true, you wouldn't stop studying to become a whatever. You know, you would keep doing it. Let's just be honest. All right, we're going to continue this later. This is getting to be a little bit too long for people to listen to it. So God bless you, and please check these out for yourself. And good night to you. Goodbye.